Hello, everyone. Welcome to the PiP Podcast. I'm one of your co-hosts, Khalid. This is Will,
Hello.
and as now becoming more tradition, our Fridays, every other Fridays, we have ourselves a guest on just to pick their brain and just again chat with them about things that they're interested in. So my guest today is going to be Raul Martinez.
Guys. What's up? What's up? Thank you for having me here.
Hey, no problem, man. Try to get people we think are super interesting, and you're definitely on the top of the list, man.
I don't know, man. This is gonna be your lowest rated show. I don't know. I think we're not. I'm not as interesting as people may think. But I'm happy to be here, and I just want to chat. I want to catch up. It's been we've had a couple of minutes to kind of catch up, but there's more to talk about. It's been too long.
Yeah.
Nice, and it's nice to meet you, Jacob. Nice to have you. Well, nice to have you here.
You for the show.
Yeah.
But the viewers know about me and Khalid, or
Yeah.
Khalid and I. Why don't you tell them a little bit about yourself?
Well, I mean, let me see. Well, I live out here in New York. I'm from Brooklyn. And I grew up here. And how I know how I'm connected to Khalid is that I met him through the military when I joined up. We met at I don't know if anybody knows if you've mentioned this before, where we were Cannon Air Force Base. Everybody, it's a very popular place. You've heard about it, Jacob? Clovis, New Mexico.
I haven't. I've heard stories. I haven't actually heard the name though.
Clovis, New Mexico. For anybody who doesn't know about it, it's a very small town in New Mexico. We met there, and there's very little to do, so we all kind of huddled up and hung out together. And I had met some really cool people there, and Khalid was one of them. But yeah, now basically, skipping over a few things, I guess. I'm into film. And I started my film endeavor at the military. That's another reason why I'm connected to Khalid, is because he helped me make some of my films, which was like, it's huge for me. I was somebody who was just trying to start off and start from nothing, and Khalid was one of amongst a group of friends who came together and helped the dream come true. And so I'm here now in New York, doing what I wanted to do. I'm working in television. And I work in a camera department, and I'm just trying to get slowly out there to tell my own stories. So I'm basically kind of just on set, learning in a way, working there, learning, picking up on ways to do things. I feel like I've been doing that most of my life. Just kind of like I've always been like. Trying to figure out ways to tell stories in a way. And
Are there any stories that like come to mind when you think of things that you want to adapt to film?
Adapt to film? Yeah, I got so many that I don't know. I feel like it would just be like a flip book of ideas I'll just be throwing at you. I don't know if you've seen any of the stuff that I've done. I've got stuff that's up that people could see. And The Robbers was one of them. I don't know if Khalid showed you that one that we did together.
Not yet.
That was the very first film that I actually put together with the help of our friends from New Mexico. And it was a fun ride. It was a fun ride. I loved looking at that film and seeing, where and knowing everything that, it took to make it all come together. And it's just like, it puts a smile on my face when I see it. It's I don't know if it's a very good film, but it's definitely a fun film to watch. I love seeing it just for the memories. And I definitely learned a lot from it. That's, that was the start. That's where it all began for me. But that's one amongst many. There's a whole other like things that we made in New Mexico, little films that we did. I did this like little samurai flick with like it's just like this like bloody samurai anime inspired samurai movie. Just kind of like dabbling in special effects and stuff. But yeah, recently I've been trying to develop some other shorts, some bigger, I guess, more developed things. Kind of hone in on my craft and use everything that I've learned thus far to make something, I guess, more polished. And that's where I'm at now. I'm just trying to get to a point. I've got the resources at like basically my fingertips. I just need to kind of, get the discipline to put it all together and sit down and really kind of, put pen to paper and make it happen like I did with the robbers.
Oh, yeah.
It was literally just me just like, hey, I'm gonna do this, and I started it and I ended it. And that's I just got I got to stop being lazy is what I'm trying to say. I just got to get up and do it.
Well, has quarantine affected you any?
Absolutely not. I had 6 months. I had 6 months of just kind of like still thinking about what it is I want to do. No, I mean, I guess yeah. Quarantine allowed me to kind of figure out like kind of come to the realization of like where like how what I have at my or what I had. Well, because like quarantine really kind of like slowed things down. And I work in the entertainment industry, and that industry kind of like really came to a halt in a way. Like even friends of mine who are like filmmakers and stuff weren't really doing much. So in a way it was just like kind of a realization of what it is that like just kind of like I lost in a way, not really lost, but kind of just like it's just like, oh my God, I had this momentum going, and then now it's like, so it's just like realization of like, okay, once it picks back up again, I need to try to like everybody that I know that's wants to try to make I have friends who are just kind of like into it and passionate about it as I am, and who are willing to work with me on it, just like like I said, like H and my friends did, and like I just need to use. I like working with people like friends who are just kind of like, yeah, let's do this, let's make it happen, and I had that before. I want to build that fire again, and kind of like I want to just do it. I just want to kind of make it happen. It's a lot of cool ideas. I think they're cool. I just want to get out there, and I think that's kind of like what we were saying. We were talking a little bit about D&D. I know the show is about it, but like, or coming up with stories that kind of inspire, right? Like, or kind of get imagination going, it sparks an imagination and stimulates the imagination and gets it going. Sort of what I want to do. I don't know. Like I'm trying to do a correlation here between filmmaking and that. Basically, kind of like narrating or showcasing a story, like coming up with these characters and this quest and this journey. And I know these little kind of like plot points of where they're gonna go and how they're gonna get there and stuff. But actually making it happen, I guess, is part of like that process too, right? But I mean, like you got to start it somehow. You could come up with a story, but like it could just kind of stay somewhere in your drawer or something, right? Like you got to make it you got to make it come to fruition in a way. Anyway, I feel like I'm rambling. What
So I mean, like, so you asked the question, we wanted to hold off, and so asking like, so who comes up with the story?
The
Dragons. So with Wizard of the Coast, you can buy modules. So modules, that means that people sat down and mapped out everything and like scaled up the encounters and combat and people you're going to meet. So you can do it that way. But then the other aspect is the rules, and then you just create your own story. Some people will go back to the roots, so to speak, and go, okay, well, I want to tell a Tolkien-esque story. So they just write using what they remember from Tolkien or something in that aspect, and then just kind of like build off of it, remix it. But yeah, so it just depends, because like so it's the funny thing. So I've been like writing stuff for D&D since high school. Like, and when I say that, it's like there's literally story points that have written, both that the players now are dealing with that I've written since high school. If that makes sense. Like it's like, so because one of my notebooks I use is a green notebook from the military. So I mean, I got in New Mexico, I think. Or
is that the one that's all tattered?
Yes, it's old.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, but so I mean, but I was with a lot of people when it comes to doing it, it's just like the idea of you look at a story that you want to tell and then you build it. But the great thing about D&D is that, so what my players are going through now is just the skeleton of a story. Like, so this is the things that are happening, these are the people they'll talk to, but guarantee if I switch out everybody and then put in another group of people, they're going to do something completely different.
Yeah.
And I think, yeah, and I love that part. And so, because one of like a lot of people are like, okay, well, because I don't watch a lot of the D&D shows, but one of the biggest things people are like, what does it take to be like a dungeon master? It's like improv. Like, Whose Line Is Anyway was the best show because it teaches you like how to just like improv and create. And yeah, man, like,
so you're constantly creating is what I'm saying. Like, so basically you came up with these ideas from high school, but like if somebody comes up with like a response to one of your ideas, like, I don't know, like a scenario that, if there's a certain scenario and they do something different than somebody else, it just kind of puts you on the spot of like, well, okay, I didn't see that, so now this is gonna happen. So you're just literally just coming up on the fly with new ideas.
Well, yes and no. So Red String, call it, will go out and go, this is an NPC, so a non-player character, and I'll go, who is this person? And the person has not a whole life, but just that's kind of a creative exercise. If they're gonna meet a blacksmith, I go, who's this blacksmith? And then everything sits on that. So they talk to a blacksmith, I know he has a wife, so maybe the wife has a name, and then you go create that way. But so some things are that way. Like, you have some players not in this group, but there are some players that go, I want to talk to this guy, I want to talk to this guy, I want to talk to this guy. It's like, okay, I didn't create these people to exist yet. And so you create that way. But every time they go, I want to talk to this person, I go, who would this person be? Who would he be? They all have their own. So it's not just like a video game where it's just like, hey, sir, where can I go get this? And they tell you, well, it's in the blacksmith. And every time you go back, that's the only dialogue now. Because and they just keep saying, so that concept, like, they become an organic person. And it's just like, now think of, go.
I have an example. So I actually mentioned this earlier today. So I was running one of the sessions of my campaign, and I had this goblin, and it was like a bunch of like black market goblins and like kobolds, and they hated each other. Well, the characters fell in love with this goblin that was just supposed to be like killed off as like cannon fodder. So like right there, I just had to come up with like a little tiny, just a gimmick for him.
Yeah.
Because I knew he wouldn't last. He had like 2 like hit points or whatever. He was literally almost dead. And they were like, we like you. We want to keep you. And I'm like, but why? Why do you want a goblin?
How does it happen though? Like, who is it? The character's decision to say like, "Hey, I fell in love with a goblin."
Yeah.
Really? Oh, okay. I mean, see, that's the thing. I'm a blank slate here. Like, I had only one interaction with D&D, and I think we mentioned it. I didn't have a good experience. So this is all kind of like enlightening in a way.
So like, I'll run like just a scenario, like saying that, so you and Will, you're saying, let's say paladin, okay? So you're like a man of the church, and you're just about like, you have a dogma and you're pragmatic. But Will's character might be a bard. He's a little bit more free-spirited, but both of you are doing the same thing, having at least the same goal, different reasons for that goal. But then when you run into, like, again, we'll just play with like a baker. You go into the bakery, and so the baker's just like, oh, good day, and he explains things to you, and you're like, oh, well, that was interesting. I just need this baker because there's baked goods. I need baked goods. But Will's character might go, but who is this guy? Hey, Baker. And he starts prodding the baker, and the baker has answers. And sometimes it's really just, it's very funny. There's some people who make these really complex character NPCs, non-playable characters. And then the actual players go, not interested. Quest giver. But then you introduce Nigel, the one armed like juggler, and they're like, but he has one arm, and then they fall in love with him. And that's the thing, like you cannot that part you can't. That's just the human aspect of it. You can't.
Yeah.
Like sometimes you can. Okay, so sometimes you can catch lightning in a bottle, and you make an NPC, and everyone loves it, like awesome, or they hate it. But then there's sometimes where it's just like, no. We just love them, and you don't know why. You go back in your notes, you go back in your brain, and you're like, what did I do so differently that they love this stupid character? And it's just that they
I think they do it to mess with us. They're just like, we like this character because we know he didn't put in like a lot of backstory to him.
Yeah.
We're gonna mess with him.
You know, that's it kind of reminds me of like didn't they say Urkel was like a character like that? It was just supposed to be a character in passing, and then like everybody just loved him, and the show became Urkel.
That's very funny because we were just talking about that in a different Discord call.
Yeah,
we were just talking about Steve Urkel. That is great. Yeah,
that's the same exact scenario and everything.
Yeah, it's like that's what came to mind, and it's because it's like literally like you're coming up with all these other, and it was like there's this minor character here, it's funny. Blah, blah, okay, yeah, we'll just have them make people laugh real quick, and then it's just like, no, we want more of that. We want to see that person more. Yeah.
And it's, as a DM, I'm happy because on the other, like the dark, I'm doing air quotes, side of D&D, there's people called murder hobos.
Murder hobos.
And they're basically that because the adventurers don't have a home, and they just murder any NPC they meet. And so there's that concept where, that was that.
So that just like kills it in a way, like kills like the, like, I mean, if you have somebody going around killing everybody, isn't that kind of like lame? Like, all right, you know, like you don't do anything else. It becomes like Grand Theft Auto. I see it like, it's like, you're just going around just, well, all right, the cops are chasing you and now you're dead. They just shot you all up.
I feel like Khaled was like testing me the very first session. Because at the very end, the only thing I did the very first session was my new teammate that I just met was getting like attacked, basically, brainwashed. And so I played a Dragonborn, or I still play a Dragonborn, and they can shoot a breath weapon based on what color Dragonborn they are.
Mm-hmm.
And since I'm blue, I can shoot lightning out of my mouth. So I lightning breath these people, and I accidentally kill a female that has nothing to do with this. So I feel like Khaled, like the female's friend came back to haunt me, basically, and I feel like Khaled did that as like, don't go killing everyone in my campaign.
Well, so that right there is a yes and a no. So what he's talking about, so there's a character named Brielle. Let's see, let's go far back. Have you ever watched Game of Thrones?
I did, yeah. I did watch Game of Thrones.
So, I mean, spoilers, but I mean the game it's over. So I mean
yeah, no, I seen it all. Yeah.
So there's that song that's playing when Cersei blows up the High Sparrow. You remember that really interesting like slow burn song that's playing, vocals, and then there's like green fire everywhere?
I remember the green fire. Don't remember the song.
Okay, I'll send it to you. Light of the Sevens, great song, but it's beautiful build up and it's just operatic and just perfect. So a player prior to that, so prior to even Jacob playing, stole from dragons and giants and scary things in the world. And I always say that everything has a consequence. Like that is the one thing I said. It's like everything in this world has a consequence. So he steals from these big bad, and they meet this merchant, and go back to the idea of like great NPCs that people just fall in love with. So I introduced this NPC that is he's a lot like the shopkeep, the merchants from Resident Evil 4.
Okay.
So he's just kind of like boisterous and has a hearty laugh, and he's really like charming. but he then stabs himself in front of the thief character, which causes mayhem. Everyone's flipping out. It's like, this really friendly merchant just killed himself on purpose. Oh God, we have to leave. So fast forward, when Nazir is finally introduced, they re-meet this merchant who's supposed to be dead. So the paladin tries to kill him. His bodyguards stop him, and Nazir comes in lightning breaths. And he hits 4 girls. Well, he hits 2 of the girls. One dies and the other one stays alive. So it immediately goes, this girl, in my mind, were already like best friends. Like, I didn't really have any other story, but for some reason I was like, these 2 are best friends, like sisters. So when he killed one girl and hurt the other one, I was like, how does that come back to bite him in a world full of consequence? And it became Brielle, who slowly just introduced herself in a really nefarious way, and it plays out to her now being a whole character. Like, I go Brielle, and everyone at the table either groans or gets like, uh-oh.
I would like to say the character, like, Brielle showed back up at a wedding that we just happened to be at.
Yeah.
And we had done a quest, and I made a strange request instead of like a lot of gold for myself for a chicken, a hen, but I called it a cock. And I'm just carrying around this cage with like a chicken in it, walking around, and this girl comes up and starts to flirt with me. I'm like, would you like to see my cock? And
Dude, that one thing I wanted, you mentioned something about you being a certain player. Is that like these are the rules? Like, so basically, if you choose a player, there's a set sort of kind of like set in stone, like this is what you can do, this is what your character, like how much you know, I guess vitality, like different sort of like starting points, or like you know, or do you just come up with like can I just make up a character and just be like, you know what, I'm like, you can't kill me, like that's it. Like, I'm like, I mean, like I'm trying to figure out, like, so there's like a set rule, or like, okay, you gotta, if you choose this character, this is how, you know, like if I choose an elf, maybe I don't have as much vitality as like, I don't know, a dwarf or something.
That's actually a perfect thing. So like, yeah, because dwarves are more hardier because of the, like, they can withstand poisons and so forth. So yeah.
Right.
So it's, well, see, because the funny thing is D&D inspired so many video games. So like, have you ever played like Oblivion or Morrowind or Skyrim, or at least seen them played?
I know of them, and I've seen like clips of them being played. Yeah.
All right. So I'm trying to think of, so like, even with like so yeah, so when you start the character, so first you pick whatever race you're going to be. So human, halfling, what doesn't really matter. So let's play with Lord of the Rings sandbox. So Legolas is probably really good at things like dexterity. He has great dexterity. He probably doesn't have that much strength though.
Okay.
But then, so you basically, when you first correct your character, so if you're like character number, like, so level 1, you're an elf, so you have certain things like dark vision. You don't have to sleep. And so let's now see what your class is going to be. So okay, so maybe you want to be a ranger or a druid or magic user. So that changes up a little bit of your stats. Like if you're a wizard, a level 1 wizard can have anywhere from like 4 hit points, so they can get taken out by a barrel gone loose, you know what I mean? Like, but it's, so then like, so you're not stuck to that stat, but so at level 1, here's your stats, this is your race, and some of the races get different like buffs and so forth, and then this is your class. And as you level up, then you get stronger that way. You will have certain features that are already stronger. Again, like you have higher dexterity, you have a high charisma, so you can like charm or talk to people or persuade people to do things. And so certain scores are balanced out for certain classes, kind of thing. So Conan's scores will be a lot different than Legolas's scores, be a lot different from, you know what I mean? Just, you know what I mean? So Willow scores, they're in that aspect.
Gotcha. Okay.
You just follow those little like it's inside baseball, but yeah, for the most part that's like how it just plays out. And as you get stronger, there's like levels of, like, there's tiers basically. So level like 1 through 4, your certain tier means you just started off adventuring, and then 5 and up, and then it just keeps going to like your level 20, and then level 20 it is really hard to kill you. Like it's really hard to kill, because like a level 20 thief can fall off of anything and survive, like straight Yamakaze parkour. like they're hard to kill, but that's a purpose, because you're now like you're beyond just an adventurer, you're a hero, you're someone of almost legend kind of thing.
Okay. So that leads me to my next question. I know there's like I've seen like certain memes and stuff like that on Reddit and stuff, but like you can lose a character, like that's it. You can't play with them anymore.
Yeah. So when your character goes to 0, so it's yes and no. So because you have your character sheet, so there are some people that I know that actually will just tear their character sheets up once their character is dead. Other people will relinquish them and just kind of put them to like a folder of the dead, where they just won't play the characters. But if you're like in a different game, or your dungeon master doesn't mind, you can play the character in like a different game. But most people, once the character die in that campaign they're running, then they can switch over and they'll try to make a new character kind of thing. It's like a part of it was the idea of like character, because it's very funny. It's when you make your first character, it's this like nerve-wracking feeling of, can you get it right? And then once you have that one character, then you start thinking, but what about this character and that character and this character? And it's just kind of you start having all these ideas for characters. Like
so, on the making the first character thing, I would like to point out we have a friend named Noah, and when he made his first character, I guess he didn't make it like fully optimal to what he wanted to play. Would you say that is correct, Khaled?
It is weird that he doesn't have strength as a barbarian. So
yes,
yeah,
it's like, and he's always complaining about it. And it's really funny because when I made my character, like I had played before, so I had like a little bit of an idea, but he was the one that helped me make mine. And right now, like with all of like my bonuses, whenever I roll an attack, I get like a +9 if I'm using my swords. And
that's a powerful hit. I take it.
That is. It means I can almost always hit.
Okay. What? How? I'm sorry. What is max like number on like a die when you come to roll? Like what is like the top?
So if you're rolling a d20, then it's 20, obviously.
20. Okay.
And that's where you'll see the 20-sided dice showing like nat 20s, and like how that plays out is that in attacks, if you roll a 1, that's a critical fail. It means whatever you're trying to do, it doesn't matter. If you add like, even so, Will's +9 doesn't mean anything if you roll a 1.
Okay.
But like, say there's a thing with armor that's 25 and you have to try to roll 25 and you just can't. But if you roll a natural 20, then it hits it automatically.
Oh. So wait, so you would hit a 25 with a high roll of 20?
Yeah. So if it doesn't matter if you have a -1, if you roll a 20, a nat 20, then you hit whatever it is.
Gotcha.
And that is the king. It's been like skewed a little bit. You'll see memes where people are like, I want to seduce a dragon, and I roll a 20, and it's a success.
Yeah.
Not how it goes. Like,
you actually informed me of something. I didn't even know that.
What's that?
That if you rolled a nat 1, no matter what, like you miss. If you roll a nat 20, you hit.
Mm-hmm.
This was not taught to me.
Look at this. Look at this.
When I could have used this. And now I feel sad. You upset me greatly with your words.
Well, we learned something new today. I'm glad I could I'm glad I could share some info with you too. That's interesting, man. That's interesting. Like the way, this how old is D&D? Like how long, when was it start? 45?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. That's pretty young. That's younger than I thought. Like, I mean, that's like that's sounds fairly recent, 45.
Yeah, like 19.
I mean, it's almost shit. But, I mean, I'm a few years. But let's not talk about that. Let's talk about age here. But damn. Wow.
But yeah, because what 2024 is when it will be its 50th year, and that's something cool. I hope.
Oh yeah, man. I hope so
yeah.
too. Yeah, and why didn't you ever, when we were in the military, how come we didn't play any D&D down there? I didn't even know all this.
I kick myself every day.
What happened?
So I won't. So like,
It's
so I
one of
won't
his
like.
lifelong regrets.
Yo, on mids, that would have been a perfect mids thing to do, man. We had that break room.
So I like chastised myself, and I just went to like this weird like fugue state of wondering, but why? So here's the reason why. So in New Mexico, the shop. So the people who would want to play, won't have to say names. So the people who wanted to play, I definitely didn't want to play. Let them play.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right.
And then my room wasn't big enough, so you know what I mean. So it was just kind of like New Mexico. That canon was, everyone was just kind of like, you basically had to just keep your head down and just do your own thing. It's kind of how it felt.
Okay. All right, I hear you. But
here's the part that I kicked myself. So when I went to England, shop was awesome. I'm in England where there are castles and dungeons and or dragons, and I have no clue, not a single clue why I didn't play D&D then. Just no clue whatsoever.
Dude, I mean, I don't know. I mean, you know what? Are you able to play? Is there a limit of do you need a minimum amount of people to play? Like you can't just play one-on-one essentially, right?
Yeah, no, 2 people. Like 2 people. It's all you need. A dungeon master and a player.
Really? Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, man. I mean, I think if it was mentioned, I would have been kind of like, all right, let's do this. Let's go through with it. You know, let's see how this goes. Definitely some people there that it would have been interesting to see, like where we would take a story, where it would go. But yeah, man, I wish I knew about this. But you know what? We did a lot more entertaining stuff there too, man. I got to see your imagination at work in another way, which is
like
cool.
Another question: was there when you think back on something that you always did, like where did you always go to hang out?
There wasn't a lot of places. Walmart. Walmart was a big like place.
It doesn't sound like a hangout.
You know what?
Place, but okay.
One of the places that was, I think, my Zen place, and I don't know if you feel the same way about this too, H, but Hastings. Was it Hastings?
Yep.
That was like a kind of like a haven for me. I mean, I would go there. The movies that they sold there were like inexpensive. You know, like you would find some really cool things for every once in a while. Foreign films, you know, things. And this is like the reason why that's so surprising. I come from New York, so like I literally, before the internet, it was sort of easy to find here. That sort of stuff was very hard to find in places like New Mexico, I think. And this place, Hastings, would surprise you with like books. Like you know, like I found a samurai book there. I'm looking at it right now. Where is it? The Book of Five Rings. I think it's by Miyamoto Musashi, right? And like I discovered that book there, and I was like, this is when I was like into like samurai and stuff like that, and I was like, you know, trying to. And again, YouTube was just starting off, so like you couldn't really find a lot of information like that or see things like that on YouTube. Now it's just like you can YouTube everything. It was just kind of starting off and kicking off at the time. And that place was kind of like, I guess, like where you would get your media intake, books, movies, and it's just like a cool little like place to be. Better than Walmart. Better than
We
Walmart.
mentioned this Tuesday, but did you know that Google is getting like a antitrust lawsuit? They're basically getting sued by the DOJ.
What is this for?
The DOJ is calling them a monopoly. And
Google?
again, you know, Google.
Oh, because of the like them owning YouTube and all this stuff.
Mainly just the search engine part.
Oh,
And it's like when you think about searching something, you say, I'm going to go Google it.
you do. Yeah, it became like the Q-tip of things. Google. Yeah, I don't know. When it comes to, I feel like there's other things. I don't know. There's other things that DOJ could be investigating. I don't know. I kind of like having. I know how dangerous it could be to have resources coming from like one place, like a search engine.
Yeah.
But I don't find myself, I guess, needing. When it's kind of like a survival of the fittest in a way when it comes to like the search engine thing. I feel like they got in all these. I used to have Firefox or I used to search through Yahoo and stuff like that. I don't know. It just kind of like eventually felt like I could just go through with. Hello.
Something is happening to Colin.
Oh, I hear like a blah 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 blah.
Yeah, it was him leaving and joining back. You can keep talking though if you want to.
No, yeah. Kind of like rambling here too, but like I don't know. I feel like I don't know. It doesn't seem like a monopoly to me. I sort of like the fact that I could go there as a hub to like find something and then from there kind of dig in deeper. But I don't know. Maybe maybe they're not showing everything. Maybe that's what it is. It's like they're not giving you certain hits. They're controlling what it is that you're seeing in a way. I gotta do a little bit more investigation on my part, but I like having a primary source, like a kind of like a Wikipedia type of thing. It's like, hey, like I want to know a little bit about this. Like, where do I start? I could go to Wikipedia and I could just kind of like get a brush on something, even though like you gotta take it, with a grain of salt. And then go somewhere else and say, hey, where else can I get information from like this thing? Go to YouTube, see what different people have to say about the topic. Are you looking up?
Yeah. I will be right back.
Sure.
I have to step away for a moment.
Cool.
Yeah.
I will say though, like, I do feel like that the cranky bartender, because sometimes when like Bing accidentally becomes my search engine, it's just this like aspect of like, what are you doing here? Like,
like how the hell did we get rid of you? Yeah. Those Microsoft, like, isn't Microsoft Edge like it's getting the axe or something like that after like a certain amount of, like there was a meme, there's like a meme or something like that where like Google has like a gun to stick in its own grave or something. I don't know. It's just like they were just showing how Google just kind of like just is taking over. It's taking over all these. Safari too. Like Safari can't compete.
Does anyone use Safari anymore? Oh yeah, they do.
Mac users. I mean, that's like the only thing you can use. I think. Yeah. Like that's the way. That's Apple's answer. It's like you can't use anything else.
Yeah, just
you can't use anything else. That's it. But yeah, that information I did not know. I didn't know anything.
Did you I think I've talked to you about this like a long time ago, but have you ever heard of Ambience, that movie? It's like Ambience 720 is also what it's called. The director's like Anders Weberg. You ever hear that one?
What is it called?
Ambience or Ambiance. You ever heard that one? Like what makes it weird is that its trailer is 7 hours long.
Oh, dude, looking at it now, I'm like 7 hours and 20 minutes. The trailer is 7 hours and 20 minutes long?
Yes, because the movie itself is 720 hours long.
Oh, wow, dude. Like, did you watch the whole movie?
No, I wish. Like, so he's like, so this director's being like really, really like artsy about it. So, 2020 happened. He wanted to release it on, I think, December of this year at a film festival. And once he shows it, he's going to destroy it, is his big claim to it. But yeah, it's about a month. It's like 30 days worth of footage, just a still single shot. like people come in there randomly and things happen and just disappear. It's just this weird like wilderness shot. But
kind of like scrubbing through it now, and it is very artsy. Yeah. Wow. And the music sounds very soothing. The images here are kind of like, what did you come across this?
Like where or when?
Oh yeah, like where? How did you come across this this short? This title?
It just popped up. So I'm trying to think of how long it's been since that thing. Maybe 2016, 17, but it was just like gee whiz, it was really heavily like just trending because it was a 7-hour trailer and people were confused because it said trailer. And then just I just been keeping track with them, waiting for this year, just because of how weird it is.
Artist is making the longest film in history, 30 days, 720 hours. Whoa. That's ambitious. That's ambitious. I mean, more power to them. That is, and you know what? It looks kind of interesting. I mean, there's parts of it. It's like I literally do want to sit down and watch all 30 days worth of footage, just so I could see like what is there like a through line here? Is he trying to say something? No, this is cool. This is cool. This is really cool, I think.
I think what I would love to do is like saying if I had like an active wallpaper, like just I would have it on the wall of my house and just let it play for that 30 days.
Good projector. Just project it for 30 days. Yeah.
And then just if I catch something, I catch something. It's just basically like an active background, which I would think would be kind of cool just to do regardless. Like put it in the wilderness. Let's do it.
Yeah.
maybe catch Bigfoot walking around. Like, oh look.
That's I mean, what's inspiring is that it's a dedication. This person did it for 30 days. Film something. Actually, he didn't just set the camera down and was just like, I'm just gonna let nature take its course. He had actors in there doing some very mysterious stuff. That is so cool. I never heard of this. Dude, I'm telling you, I think the way YouTube has grown. I was thinking about this the other day, and we used to go to YouTube for just like funny little shorts, just like funny little things, like little skits and stuff, like shoes. Like, you remember that music video, like shoes, you know, like the Spanish love song, like the first like it was just like stupid little videos that we used to go like to YouTube for, and now you could find just kind of like films, dude. It's an outlet for like, you know, like for artists, and I mean, you already knew it was gonna be a platform like that in a way, but like to see how it's grown, to be a part of that generation, to see how like I see how my girlfriend's nephew watches YouTube, and it's just like literally like that's the go-to place to get like media, whereas before it was just kind of like there's so much on there, literally so much on there, so much content. It's like the go-to place to watch stuff. Like not even cable or television can compete with like YouTube. It's still like just compiled, like it's smart because the attention span of a kid is pretty small, and they keep the videos like at 15 minutes length in a way that's like the perfect time to kind of like watch them, and they scrub through it anyway.
Yeah.
But like it's grown to this like enormous like platform for just everything, all sorts of stuff, man. Like just watching people play video games, like that's a thing. Just watching them. And it's like it sounds kind of like what, but like that's what we did. We watch each other play video games. Like kids are doing it on YouTube, you know, like they like doing that. They're like watching, just like sitting down and watching them play through it. We used to do that a lot, like in real life.
Like I tell people like As Grand Theft Auto and Resident Evil, I enjoy backseat gaming. I enjoyed when you're just actually playing those games, and sometimes having commentary to it. But yeah, just like watching you play San Andreas and just like just watching it.
Exactly. Yeah. I remember this vampire game that you used
just
to play.
so you guys know.
What's up, Jacob?
Nothing, had to get groceries in. I was like, what?
Who's that?
I had
Is
to
that,
get groceries in.
Oh, I thought you said something else.
Nah.
I thought you were gonna mention your dog. I thought you said Goshers in. I was like, oh, you have a dog?
No, I have a cat.
You have a cat?
Yes.
I have a cat and a dog.
I have a cat who's staring at me because he's upset that I'm not laying, because I lay on my back and he'll sleep on me. But I'm,
You have a cat, H?
yeah. Right now he's staring at me like, bro, I want to go to sleep. But
Where are the pets? I gotta take my pooch out soon. My dog's name is Kano. Named him after the Mortal Kombat character. It just suited him. I just saw him and I was just like, Kano. And it's just like,
wait, does he smile ear to ear?
no. Ew. You know, I said that. Who did I said that in the military one day. I remember there was a guy who just like had me replay it, had me repeat it over and over again. What did I say? What did he say? The line in Mortal Kombat. It's
Yeah. Do you miss me?
do you miss me? Did you miss me?
Do you miss me? Like, you killed my partner. I am smiling ear to ear.
Yo, that actor played Kano so well, man. It's like
Yeah, he did.
such a great job. You know, I was talking to a friend about Mortal Kombat, the movie. This was like 2 days ago, I think. And we were talking about video games made into movies, and he's brought up Mortal Kombat as being a bad example. And I'm like, dude, that was actually, I think, one of the best like iterations of a video game. They didn't really deviate too much, you know, like. It was about Mortal Kombat. It was about this tournament, you know, and like they didn't get into like what Street Fighter you tried to do. Like they gave these people jobs, you know, like
Exactly.
Ken and Ryu were detectives or something. I don't know what. Like I was like, what? Yeah, exactly. Fucking Balrog was a reporter. Like what's his name?
It was weird. Like.
Exactly.
I think that's why I loved it, because Mortal Kombat was like, this is what it is.
Yeah, it felt close to the video game, the characters and stuff like that. When I was a kid, I was excited to see like Scorpion and Sub-Zero.
Oh, yeah.
Said, come over here. Like everybody was like, like, yeah, like that was like, those are the moments you want. And even Goro.
Yep.
Goro, dude, the special effects with Goro were amazing.
Mm-hmm.
That was hands down the best video game, like video game based film I've seen. I mean, I can't think of any even now.
Like and the funny thing is though, like if you scream Mortal Kombat the song and start you will probably start singing along. That's the problem. Like, you know what I mean? Like
freaking Sonya getting beat up in the background.
Like,
I love that. Yeah. I love that beat, man.
Like I think that was the song that got me into like techno.
Exactly, dude.
No, man.
That's iconic. It really is iconic. But that's the thing. It succeeded there, and then whatever, like I guess they tried to make another one, right, or something.
Yeah, unfortunately, yeah.
There was something on YouTube even, right?
Yeah, there was. Yeah.
Yeah. And it seemed interesting. Like I was like, wow, this seems like something that could be kind of cool. It had like there's a certain kind of campiness I liked about Mortal Kombat, the original, and this one was a lot more serious toned and darker. It felt like.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I guess it could have worked if they went through with it. I know it wasn't it I don't know who if that was a filmmaker too, the actor guy who played it was like Black Dynamite, right?
Guy. Michael J. White.
Michael J. White, yeah.
Spawn.
I don't know. Yeah, Spawn. I don't know if he was the filmmaker or if he was behind it. to like
I
develop
think
it.
he might have been producer. I'm not too sure.
But yeah,
I
like,
did find out recently though that the guy who directed Mortal Kombat also directed all the or he directed the Resident Evil movies as well.
That's interesting.
Paul Wes Anderson.
he directed every single Resident Evil movie was the same director.
I think one wasn't, but I know that Paul Wes Anderson had a hand directing a lot of them and making them weirder.
Part 1 was probably the one I liked the most too.
Yes, it hands down is the best. All the other ones were just whatever.
And it just felt different. That's why I was surprised. I was like, what was he trying to take it? Because like part 1, like it although it had its kind of like, it felt like its own video game, you know, like its own kind of like story. I mean, like they took, they took the story of Resident Evil and they made their own character and stuff like that. Yeah. As eager as I was to see like Chris and Jill Valentine and Wesker and Barry and everybody, it was kind of like, oh, where's this gonna go? You know, like a new video game out there. So, and they did a pretty decent job. I love the way they incorporated the lasers too later on in part 4. Like I was like, oh, okay, the lasers came back.
The lasers are back.
I was like, I've never seen lasers in Resident Evil. But
in Resident Evil 4, right? That's where
Resident Evil 4, Leon, yeah. So Leon has to like that laser beams come in and you gotta dodge them before they chop you up.
Okay.
And I think maybe they incorporated that to kind of tie in that element in that movie because it's like a narrow hallway. It's like where is this going? It's just to get to the other side.
I was told that he directed all of them. He directed all the Resident Evil movies. And then he's about to direct the Monster Hunter movie, which I'm very disappointed in. But we might be.
Yeah. We'll see. Speaking of Monster Hunter, did you guys the latest film that I saw was it kind of like touched it sort of kind of felt like it was kind of based around. Wait, no, I'm thinking Monster Squad. Vampires versus the Bronx. Did you see that?
Mm-mm.
So yeah, somebody told me about it. All right, so I guess we can't really talk much about it, but it sounds like a cool concept.
Give us like a summary. Give us a summary of it.
Well, I mean, it's literally as original as the title. It's just the vampires in the Bronx, versus like these sort of like kids or a community. It becomes like a community.
Oh, so it's almost like Attack the Block, you would think?
You know what? I haven't seen Attack the Block, and that's on my queue. I was actually gonna watch that like 2 weeks ago. I found it and everything because I want to show my girlfriend's nephew about the Attack on the Block because that stars what's his name the Star Wars guy, right? Oh my God, he looks so young there. But it looks like a film that he would enjoy. I like showing him stuff like that. Like I showed him RoboCop. I try to show him like stuff that I think he'll kind of like trigger his interest and his imagination and whatnot. And I feel like Attack on Block was something that kind of seems cool, man. It seems like, I don't know. I only seen it through the trailer, but it looks like a very entertaining, fun movie to watch. It looks really good. But it was nothing. Even the trailer itself sort of fell flat. You know what I hated the worst? And I don't want to spoil it for anybody, listening or to you guys. But the vampires were weak. Like they were so weak. It was disappointing. It was so disappointing. It was just like it sort of like didn't let me enjoy the movie. Just how weak these vampires were. And they should be a little harder to kill. I mean. It's cool concept. I even had myself an idea of a vampire story that takes place here and just like kind of like, in the sort of atmosphere that I grew up in. That's like it really felt like one thing they did achieve is kind of like this authenticness a little bit of like what it feels like to be like growing up in the Bronx. Like in the sort of New York that I grew up in. How I even grew up, like a Spanish family and stuff like that. They try to incorporate that into it. And I feel like they did a decent job with that. But where they failed was with like the mythos of the vampire. Like in a way, there's certain things you got. I'm interested to hear your takes in it. I'm kind of like I'm shining in a negative light. There's like elements to it that is just like that one is like that the vampires really did it for me. Um, but yeah, I guess we can move on from that topic because I don't want to like spoil. I don't want to give away information to people who haven't seen it, especially you guys. So
Okay.
if I do come back on here, or when I do come back on here, maybe we can talk a little bit more about that because I want to know. One thing I like talking and I guess we could talk more about this. I'm interested to hear your take on certain films too, Jacob. Is that we used to talk a lot about films and like hearing people's insight into certain things, you know, into certain films that, you know, we both watched. Like I might dislike something and they liked it for a different reason and it kind of like, I didn't see it that way type of a thing.
I watch like most of the films that I watch are like horror movies. Horror movies or just what's the best way to put it?
Anime.
The films that anime is a whole different area for me. Like when I'm thinking of like an actual just like movie that you would normally watch with like your family and stuff, it would be like where the detective has to figure out everything kind of thing.
Like
so you
thrillers?
have to, yeah.
Okay.
And I like doing that because most of the time I can judge if it's good by how fast I can figure out like who the bad person is.
So if you can't figure out the bad
Yeah.
person fast enough, then you're like, okay, this was good.
Yeah, to me that like it's really good when I can't immediately start to figure out who it is.
Yeah.
Although like midway, if they time it just right, it's like I'll figure it out right before they reveal it, and I'm like, that still classifies as really good to me.
Have you watched? Are you a fan of foreign films, like Korean films and stuff like that?
I have seen a few of them.
Oh,
I wouldn't
dude,
say like I'm a big fan, but I've seen some.
I think you would be very interested in some of the Korean films that have to do with like thrillers, and they have a kind of like a horror sort of element to them. Have you seen a movie called The Chaser?
I have not.
Oh man, put that on your list. I think you're gonna be so pleased with it. I mean, I am. It's called The Chaser. Have you seen it, H?
I've heard of it, but I've never seen it.
Yeah, it's let me see. I'm trying to look it up. It was on Netflix. That's how I saw it. I don't know if it is anymore. You know what film comes to mind, and I am so freaking upset that I can't find it anywhere, dude. The one that you showed me, the Going by the Book.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
That film, man. I've only seen it once with you guys, and
Yeah.
I've been wanting to show everybody this film because this film is so freaking good. It was such a good laugh. It was like you said, you like nailed it when you said it's such a smart movie, like the way they made it and everything. It's so good. But yeah, it's called
Hulu at one time.
It was on Hulu? I searched
Yeah.
for this thing everywhere. I even tried to purchase it on like Amazon and I can't find it. It just says like unavailable. I look online for it like everywhere and I can't find it. But
Do you know how to like use the VPN?
Oh yeah, I mean like I know there's like workarounds and stuff, but I'm just like easy access. Like why is this not up? Like here, like it's such a good film. I'm actually surprised that it's not just kind of more available, you know?
Exactly.
Just kind of like more easier to find and watch. You should definitely check out The Chaser. This movie surprised me. And the way
I have it pulled up on my computer screen right now.
Really good film.
I'm hoping there then, Raul, that there's a lot of right now I'm more the largest cinephile amongst the group where I'm just like, have you seen this movie?
Yeah.
Have you seen this movie? No, I'm like, oh my god.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's like you've seen films that I've never seen, and like I love that. I love that. Like you could be like, hey, oh man, like we used to talk about films or ideas, and you'd be like, oh, that sounds like something like that came this movie that I saw. I love finding like hidden gems like that, dude. And I'm like, that was what going by the book was. It impacted me so much, the characters so much, that it's like kind of like inspired me to develop a character and story based around that too. I'm just like, this story is just too damn good. The story, like the character and everything, is just just the whole way it plays out is so damn good. You should definitely check it out, Jacob. It's so good if you can. That one too.
I will definitely check out The Chasers, and if I can find Going by the Book, I will watch it, and then I will link it to you.
What?
You can rewatch it.
Yes. If you find it, let me know.
Did you watch? I don't know if either one of you did you watch Men from Nowhere?
Silence.
In that one?
I don't think so.
What about you, Candace?
No.
So we have Man from Nowhere. Like it's very funny because the lead reminds me a little bit of Chow Yun-fat and a little bit of Keanu Reeves. This is pre John Wick, and it's hard like that. Like it's also called Atarashi. Is the Korean name, just means Mister.
That is so cool.
You can also watch
I love
Korea on Crackle.
Dude, I love Korean and Japanese cinema. Like that, their edgy, like dark films are really like they pioneered that sort of kind of style.
And then I Saw the Devil.
Ooh, dude, yeah.
Robert just sent that too. Yeah, I Saw the Devil. Because I say that it's very funny because Man from Nowhere, I Saw the Devil, and Old Boy, and then Going by the Books are like my top Korean movies. Like they're my favorites.
I Saw the Devil, dude. Audition. When you showed me Audition, I was just blown away. I was just like, wow, and that introduced me to Takashi Miike.
Oh yeah,
and his like dark storytelling. Jacob, if you don't know who Takashi Miike is, he's definitely up your alley, I think, too, when it comes to kind of horror. Like he's a freaking horror maniac. Like I think he's been quoted to say that like his film, or not only that, violent too. Violence is like huge in his film.
I crave violence.
That's his outlet. He said that he probably would have been a serial killer if he wasn't a filmmaker. Like it's dark. It's dark. No, like he really puts himself out there in his films. Like he doesn't hold back. There's a lot of shocking elements to his filmmaking. It almost feels taboo in a way in certain parts of his films.
You said that the movie was called Audition.
Yes,
The Audition.
I think I've told you about though, because he's one of my favorite Japanese directors. So I'm very sure I've told you about him, Will. Like Audition,
Ichi?
Dead or Alive, Ichi the Killer.
He sounds familiar. Yes.
Sukiyaki Western.
Yes. And these and this is where like I think where like we used to kind of develop stories ourselves, and I think a lot of like I could see the D&D in you when you developed like your characters and like anything that you were doing, H. And I see it here.
I'd like to say that Takashi Miike directed a movie about Ace Attorney, and this is amazing to me.
Phoenix, right?
Yeah.
Like, oh my gosh. Okay.
Takashi Miike.
Definitely a good one.
Also
13 Assassins. 13 Assassins.
Terraform Mars.
Oh wow.
Did you see Blade of the Immortal? I
did. That was impressive.
What? It was. I got to see that one in the theater. I was like, what this it was me and my cousin. It was like on a like it just happened to be playing. And I was like, we got to catch this. We got to see this on the screen. And I'm glad I did. Oh, this is like a key example of like achieving, I think, the anime style in film. I think he did a freaking fantastic job of translating that over in this movie, Blade of the Immortal.
And it was very funny because when I remember, because I think I was like talking to you in New Mexico about it, but I was like, I would like him to direct because I had the manga at the time. And I was like, I would love him to direct this movie. So when it first came out, it was just like he's directing this movie. I'm like, am I reading this right? Like this is who's supposed to direct this movie.
That's, you know what? It's so true. If there's any, I mean, before I even like saw the film, if like I knew about the manga and I read it, I think Takashi Miike would be kind of like one of the ones that I'm so glad that he took it up and did it, and he did it so good. That's the thing, man. You gotta have a right pairing. You gotta have a good director behind a film or story. You can't really mix that combination up, or else they're not gonna get the vision right.
Well,
like Blade of the Immortal, I'm pretty sure that. I'm sorry.
Anime. Well, like speaking about anime and manga, what is your all-time favorite anime and/or manga?
Oh boy, man. Well, there's so many. I think one that really kind of like stood out to me was as like, and like it still does. There's several. Ninja Scroll is like one of my favorite animes. I love the character. I love Jubei. Jubei's character was freaking awesome. The fight scenes, the journey, like the journey in that movie too, was just like you have this character who has this like it's like such a simple kind of like plot. Like he gets poisoned and he has to fight these demons and stuff in order to get the remedy. And I don't know if I'm ruining anything for you if you've seen Ninja Scroll.
I think I have seen it like a while ago.
And I know that came from comic books, but I didn't read the comics. Like I just saw Ninja Scroll the movie, the first one, and I just fell in love with it. I love the anime style, the way like at the time, like it just looked so cool. Like it was drawn so well. And that one and Vampire Hunter D, I think, is another one that kind of just like really entranced me, and I was just like, oh my god, like my father was I have to attribute it to him to introduce me to kind of like these kind of like different films, like non-American films. He would come home with like animes and foreign films, and he really kind of opened my mind up to where people were kind of just like more like my circle of friends were more in tune to like American cinema.
Yeah.
And so when I saw Vampire Hunter D, that really kind of like I was just like, whoa, what? Like this is like something I'm not used to watching. This is like something totally brand new, and it was just like really cool to me. Do you know about Vampire Hunter D?
I have not. I googled it and it just said it brought up the novel series for it.
The novel? Yeah, again. One thing is, and I kick myself in the ass about this, is that I should do more reading. I do a lot of like I take in stories visually by films, like by just like motion pictures is my intake. But I do need to do a little bit more of like where it came from, the foundation. I want to read like I know Vampire Hunter D is a comic. I know Ninja Scroll was probably a manga too. Not entirely 100% sure, but probably was. And like Akira, of course, Akira is like it's huge. Everybody knows. I mean, even here Akira became such a big thing. I'm surprised actually it's not something that my girlfriend's nephew knows about when I mentioned it to him. It was just it's like one of those, I don't know, Akira's like the front man for manga in America, I think. It's like that's what you think of. It's like it's a big name, it's a big hit, it's a big anime hit.
I think what I'm noticing with Akira though, because I watched it and I loved it, but then my best friend who's younger than me, he never saw it, and I kept picking at him because he watched all these anime, but I was like, you've never seen Akira. And it seems to be kind of going that way where some more people don't see Akira or some of the older ones because the newer ones just come out. But no, man, Akira, whew, like
The cool thing about Akira too is the way it was animated, the way it was like, it freaking, the way it looks is just amazing. And that's all hand drawn, and
Yep.
it's like what's his name's work in a way, a very gritty, dark version of what's his is escaping me, the one who makes all these Studio Ghibli films.
Miyazaki.
Like Miyazaki's animes are just amazing. They look amazing. There's so much, I can't even, like, there's like a word that can't encompass it. It's just like, it's amazing to watch. It's just like he's just like a gift to the eyes, Akira was that, I think. Like seeing the motorcycles going through like the city, and you see like the lights just kind of like these laser beams coming across, and it was just like, it was so cool. And then you could see like the fight scene was just like it just like immersed you and everything. When I first watched it, the movie was just too weird for me, but I was just so like immersed into the animation of it. And I see a lot like that's the thing. That's why I like showing my girlfriend's nephew these films, because I see myself in him, like kind of like he doesn't know what's happening, but when these things when like the action kicks in and stuff, he's like zoned in, and he's like engaged, and I could see like, oh, this is the moment, like, where people kind of like come in and they're like, hey, this is like the highlight of the animators like achievements here, and it really draws them in. What draws them in is like what I'm witnessing now, like the action and stuff like that, the way it's done, and the way it was executed. It's amazing. Vampire Hunter D, the way that one was illustrated too, is like this gothic sort of feel, but also futuristic, and it was just it's just such a weird and cool environment.
Yep.
If I were to make like a D&D sort of world, it would probably kind of be like tailored around the Vampire Hunter D sort of backdrop, like it was so cool. It was like you had these weird like sciencey lights, but like castles too, like it's really, really cool. But what about you? I mean, what are some of the animes that what is it that inspires your D&D games, Jacob?
That is a good question.
Yeah.
A lot of Greek mythology, honestly.
Oh yeah, most def.
I find myself always to me, I think in Greek mythology they had a lot of like the tragic flaw to them. A lot of characters do, but in Greek mythology, like you got Achilles and his, the Achilles heel. So a lot of my characters, while they can be strong, if the players like do research before they go fight him, which they usually don't, they can find out his like end all be all kind of thing, like his Achilles heel. But like story wise, it could just be not like how it said, maybe I would not lean towards Lord of the Rings. I don't think I play it off like that. It would be more of like not George R.R. Martin, like darker towards there, but not like his, what's the word to call it? Because they have like a lot of nudity and stuff.
And George R. R. Martin. That's like a rated R version of like Lord of the Rings. Yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
It's inspired by like a ton of different animes. Like some characters could be inspired by other anime characters and so on. I wouldn't say there's like a specific thing in general that would like make my campaign I would base my campaign on, but just little bits of different things. It's like, oh, I like how they did this. I'm gonna try and recreate that somehow.
Yeah. Do you draw your inspiration from book stuff? Like, are you an avid book reader?
I read a lot of manga, but as a kid, I used to read like just a lot of novels and stuff. So,
right. I think
I kind of want to read more novels. I just don't know which ones would be good for me to read.
I've one thing I want to get into the Lord of the Rings. Have you read that, H?
I haven't. It's one of the books that like because there's the Silmarillion. There's another one. It's just one like a thick. It almost reads like old biblical. It's just like a lot of Tolkien stuff, but I never read it. Like I watched the Haskin and what's it called? Rankin Haskins, the old like Greatest Adventure, the old like animation. Then just the Lord of the Rings, those, but never read the books. Just I don't know. Certain stories. I don't know what it is. Go ahead.
Could you understand those? I can't. I couldn't read anything like that. Like very kind of like old English kind of texts and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It takes me away from the whatever fantasy story they're trying to tell. I think the language is beautiful. Like I think the way, like sometimes like the way the words they use paint like a really like nice picture in your mind and whatnot. But I need something straightforward. That's why I gravitate towards like Stephen King. You know, like writers like Stephen King and stuff like that kind of immerse you into a world.
Yeah. Well, see, that's the good thing about The Hobbit, though. Like The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings, it just reads straight out.
Yeah.
They're good reads. Andy Serkis of all people has like he's doing like a audiobook.
Of Lord of the Rings.
I think
really
he's Hobbit in Lord of the Rings.
Oh shoot! Is he gonna play Gollum? Is he gonna do his Gollum voice?
Who no one knows. I don't know.
Oh my god, man, that'd be freaking cool, dude. That'd be so awesome.
Ooh.
That's
Wait, just let me interject. Going back to your question to me about what inspires my games, there's one thing that I think could be maybe like the center, and it is just like Arthurian legends, like King Arthur and like all the swords.
Yeah. Yep.
That is my jam. I love it.
Yeah, that like Excalibur.
Yeah.
Excalibur and yeah.
Excalibur, Lady of the Lake, all of it.
Yeah, I think that's why Vampire Hunter D would be up your alley. Like it'd be kind of like something it's such a lot of cool things happening in it almost feels in a way like, you know, mythological.
Yeah.
It has to do with the vampires, so I mean, if you're into vampires.
Have you ever seen Bloodlust?
Talking to me? Or...
No, I've seen I know what isn't it the cover like the girl with red eyes?
Yeah.
Like bloodshot red eyes. I don't think I remember seeing the movie, but I know of the anime.
So that animation is the same as Ninja Scroll.
Is it?
Yeah. I switched over to that one, but yeah.
So, dude, when he gets messed up by Gemma, oh man, I love watching that, man. The way it's animated is so rough. You just feel all those hits.
Every hit, yeah.
Like he doesn't even. There was this. I found a GIF and it's like a never-ending kind of like perfect cut. Like they put it's just him getting hit over and over and over, lift up and hit. Oh my god, dude. But yeah, it's freaking one of the scenes that I was just like, what? I just go back to it all the time. What was I gonna say? Yeah, I've come to a realization here, like just like how good you were coming up with character, and I see that, you know, you're it's your D&D backdrop, your D&D background. You know, it's such a cool tool to have, to be an artist, you know, a storyteller or whatever. Like, I think it's really neat how it could exercise the mind, and I would love to play some more, or play it again, or attempt to play it again, so I could try to kind of invigorate that part of my mind, that imagination.
Oh.
Now, one thing that's very kind of like, you know, tough to do as a filmmaker is coming up with interesting characters, or just like, like, you know, kind of developing an interesting character, someone that you're hoping that will catch people's interests and stuff like that. And I can see the correlation between filmmaking and D&D in that aspect of it. But being
like a group, though, man.
It is.
Well,
I mean,
I'll say this: it's like a secret society that anyone can join. Is the best way to say it.
That's so cool. That is so cool.
Because Joe and Anthony Russo, those directors, like, they played D&D, and that's what, like, that's what got them into, like, filmmaking,
right,
as well. And like Stephen Colbert played, it's just these people you think about, it's like, what? And then it was what they played because of what it helped them do, kind of thing. But
yeah, the improv is something that I think is really kind of fun to think about. It's scary because, like, I mean, it's not scary. It's kind of like, you know, being bad at improv. It sucks. You know, like, it's just like somebody, like, if I was on, you know, Whose Line Is It Anyway, I don't think I could last with those guys. When I'm at work, you know, you got a lot of people who come up with. I love that wit, that sort of kind of fast wit and fast, like, kind of like thinking you have to do. Exercising that part of your mind is kind of like, I want to do more of that. I want to do that, more of that, and maybe this sort of kind of light, this sort of way.
I would venture to say that, like, doing D&D like every week, like we do, it really does just help you in general. It's like your private improv class.
I think so. I mean, it sounds like it. It sounds like it really could, like, exercise this part of your mind, you know. It feels like it's more than just a game, like entertaining, like, you know, just being like a game that's entertaining. I feel like you gain more out of it. It sounds really cool, and I want to play it with the right people. So you guys sound freaking. I want to. H, you should have brought this up years ago, dude. I could have been playing this. Yeah, I could have played this for a while now.
Dude, like,
but it's not too late to start.
Yeah, no. That's the thing, though. Like, so, like, going to, like, the not like philosophical aspects of D&D. So, I can't remember her name, but she did this study and comes to find out that when people talk about their D&D games, they use the exact same part of the brain when they're talking about memories. So it's not like, oh, I remember when my character, the halfling, went here to a dark. No, they go, I remember when I went to this tavern and I did this, and people connected to the situation.
Yeah.
And like Dungeons and Dragons, so like it's funny because on the aspects of just like sharpening the mind. So when I started doing a job that it was about, like, it was commission based. So I got paid, but then I just get more commission. When I start playing D&D again, the sharpness and the things I would have to say for people to, like, oh, why should I get this? And I'm just like, this and this and this and this and this. And it's just like, it's almost like hooked up to the Matrix. I'm like, I just know how to do this now.
Well, you gotta exercise that part of that mind, man. It's definitely something. I think it's more than just it is a talent. A good. I mean, one person I feel like is one of the best. I'm gonna hack the word improv. I'm getting tired here. Improvisationist. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Robin Williams, dude. Robin Williams. Yes. Oh my God, what he could do! Like, that is like, he could become these different characters, which is what I was gonna bring me to my next question. When you play D&D, do you act out these characters?
Yes. Yeah.
Damn, I wish I would have played with Robin Williams, dude. Like
So
he would have
it's
been
sort
the
of like
best.
when you make your D&D character, like again, you have the numbers where like your stats, like your health, your strength and stuff,
Yeah.
but you also create that character's like personality.
hmm
So when you create it, you know, he can have his own ideals, his own like flaws, things he hates and stuff like this. So when you're making choices, you keep that in mind, and you're not playing as Raul. You're playing as whatever your character is.
Yeah.
So
Sound to the like accents and all that.
Yeah, I mean, so
yeah.
it's up to you. So that's the thing about D&D. So you can go straight numbers, where it's just like I roll a dice, I attack this person, and then some people love that, where it's just crunch numbers and math. But other people, because it's role playing, some people just like,
Yeah.
but then you have some people who are just like, and I do this and I'm that, because that's what
Yeah.
that is. Like myself personally, since I'm a DM, so I'm the world, so I'm everybody. So there's times where like, so I actually start learning how to do female vocalization.
Okay.
So I sound like a female for that moment. But you don't have to, you know what I mean? Like, so it's just what connects into what engages to you. So
Yeah.
there's accents and so forth. And connecting the accents to just like NPCs, the players met two dwarves. One dwarf was completely Sean Connery in voice. When he talks, his accents and everything. The other dwarf was Gimli from Lord of the Rings. And like just how they speak, and they loved him. Like they followed him. But it's just how much you put it.
We
It just
kept
helps
them. They are awesome.
But it's for immersion. So I mean, it's just that concept. So I mean, I like it because it's funny where, like there's a new generation of people playing D&D, and they're like Critical Role, a show full of like voice actors. Like they did play a critical role in getting people to enjoy D&D. But like my love goes further back, not like the hipster way, but the fact is like, so Andy Serkis and before that Gary Oldman are my two like inspirations when it comes
Gary
to like
Oldman, yeah.
That man is a powerhouse.
Oh yeah.
And so
Heck yeah.
that concept where I'm like, I want to be the DM where so you forget there's a point, and it's a beautiful point that happens where the player forgets that you are, so they forget that I'm Khaled Habibullah. Yeah. They go straight to the idea of just like, okay, I'm whoever this person's supposed to be.
Yeah.
And then that aspect is phenomenal, I think.
Like
that is
certain voices he uses that now it's just like when he uses that voice, like he doesn't have to say the name. I just know who it is.
That's freaking awesome. That's so awesome.
And the funny thing is though, like you will see, so there's a character that say the whole party, all the players hate this guy, right? But he's in the same room with a character that all the people love. Yes, it's still me, but it's a beautiful thing that I don't think they notice is that they'll be like, I hate you. And then they go and like, hey, and they switch, you know what I mean? They immediately switch how they talk to me.
Yeah.
Based off of the character and the way that I like carry myself, posture and talk. And they'll treat him or treat them respectively to who they're supposed to be.
Right. But you're just, it's coming straight from you.
But it goes back to storytelling. Like I think like D&D is collaborative storytelling, and I think that is the like the primitive thing of it, where human beings sit around fires and have these stories.
Yeah. Oh yeah. But interactive, very interactive.
And so it's just that concept of it's because it's a collaborative storytelling. Yes, as a DM, I would like them to go to this castle, find a treasure, fight this troll, and then return it to the Duke for half off, or or just return it to the Duke because it's a treasure he wants. But I can't control if they want to go to it, find the treasure, give them only half, and try to like ignore the troll. Like that's fine. Like that's a part of their story now.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
And that's a story you got to kind of continue telling. And see it through. Yeah, that's so cool, man.
It's like,
that is so cool.
As a DM, you set up the scenario, and the players come up with a solution.
Yeah.
So
or
Mhm.
more problems. But it's
Oh yeah,
fun.
or a solution and a problem. It's case by case.
And that's the thing. That's the biggest thing, because there are DMs that will say the word railroading and
Mhm.
derailing, which is very weird. So railroading is just that, like if you're like on a linear shooter where this is here, this is that, which is a bad thing. But so you have DMs that go, my party derailed my campaign, which means that they did something and it just ruined the whole campaign for them.
Yeah.
My aspect to that's like, well, there's no such thing as derailing. As a DM, I say there's no such thing, because if it's truly a sandbox, then it should just be whatever they want to do, part of your story kind of thing. So if all of them, it's what's called a TPK, a total party kill, where all the characters die because of whatever. Most of the times they go, oh, that was a derail. It's like, no, that's how the story's supposed to go. Like
Wow.
this whole story was technically a tragedy, if you think about it.
Oh,
Like,
But
or
was it
if
really a tragedy that they all died?
yeah, so but like, and then there's some DMs kind of want, because of like Game of Thrones being fantasy and dark and serious, a lot of people have gone to this part where there's like, I want it grim, dark, and serious, but then lo and behold, here comes Jingle Leaf, half elf bard who likes to dance and sing, and you're like, well, he's not gonna know who to know. Like it's now this whole other monster where like you can't not inject comedy into it, because again, like it's done right, it's every emotion, like that's how it's supposed to be, every emotional spectrum.
yeah. That is so cool, man. Yeah,
Not
no, I hear
to,
you.
Like, be a downer, but it is already 12.
It is 12.
Oh boy, turn
Yeah,
into a pumpkin,
yeah. Yeah,
guys. It was really fun, man. Thank you for having me here.
problem, man.
It was good catching up. I'll definitely be back. I'll definitely
yeah.
be back, man.
Love to have you back.
Hopefully we talk more D&D. I'll do my research. We'll have more to talk about. Definitely
Yeah.
catch up on those movies, Jacob.
I will. Next time I will give you my opinions on them.
Yeah, man.
And before you go, have you ever heard of a show called Undone?
No, actually, it doesn't sound familiar.
Okay, so the phenomenal actress from what's her name, Rosa Salazar from Alita,
Yeah.
Battle Angel.
Oh yeah. Uh-huh.
I'm gonna say I'm finally glad that came out, but that's neither here nor there. But anyways, so it's all rotoscoped, and it's the same team that did Scanner Darkly.
Yeah. Oh, dude, that's yeah. We got to get into rotoscoping stuff like Fire and Ice. Like, yeah, we'll talk about that on a future day or something. This just opened up a whole new conversation here, man. We're going for another hour.
Check that
I
out.
will.
Oh, check out Undone and then Lovecraft Country. Those two.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Check those two out, then you're good to go.
Will do, man. I'll do my homework. You guys do yours.
All right.
Absolutely. Yeah. Good to have you. Is there anything you want to promote or plug or anything?
Not yet. Not yet, but maybe one day.
Okay.
When you do have it, just remember next time you're on, you can promote it at the end.
Yeah.
That way everyone knows where to find your stuff at.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
I'll talk to you guys soon.
All right, man.
Later, guys.
Later.
Alrighty, and with that, everyone, that will be the end of the PiP. If you have not already followed, please hit the follow button. We do a podcast every Tuesday at 10:30 p.m. to 12 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and then a guest podcast every other Friday, which was tonight. So,
yeah.
Again, do you have anything to say, Colin?
No, I want everyone to have a good night.
And with that, we will say farewell to the